exclusive. This is a mega exclusive. CNN News 18 has now accessed exclusive intelligence note on the murder of Ripudaman Malik, the acquitted suspect in the 1985 Air India bombings. Remember, he was shot dead in a case of what seems like targeted killing in Canada on Thursday, which was just yesterday. Now, we have accessed this exclusive intelligence report. The note, that intel note, states that Malik was clear not to allow the acquitted Jathedar to use his school or college stage to speak against India. Now, it's also important to note the other aspect of this intel note. It states that earlier on 17th January this year, Malik had written a detailed letter addressing it to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, praising him for taking tens of initiatives to redress the long-pending grievances of the Sikhs. The letter virtually rattled anti-India elements in Canada. Now, Khalistanis backed by ISI are behind the cold-blooded murder of Ripudaman Malik. This is also one crucial aspect of that intel note that has been exclusively accessed by CNN News 18. It is therefore quite obvious that there are concerted efforts to use unfair means to scare voices that dare to align with India. This is the last bit that has been accessed by us of that crucial intel input that has been shared on the murder of Ripudaman Malik. Remember, he was shot dead yesterday in British Columbia in Canada. So let's also take you, was Ripudaman Malik's pro-India stance behind his murder? Here are some instances which have been cited by that intelligence note that we were also referring to. Didn't let his forum be used against India. That is made amply clear in that intel note as well. Ripudaman Malik exposed anti-India elements on a talk show. Remember, he has been doing this. He's been taking a stand against all those Khalistani backed by ISI agents and those elements in Canada as well. He exposed agents as working on behest of Pakistan. This is something he had also mentioned in the letter that Ripudaman Malik had written to the Indian Prime Minister earlier. He wrote to Prime Minister on January 17th this year, praising the pro-Sikh steps that had been taken by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Khalistanis are behind Malik's cold-blooded murder. This is what intel sources are telling CNN News 18. And efforts are on in Canada to scare voices aligned with India. This is another crucial aspect of that intel note that has been accessed by CNN News 18. And with that, let's also now quickly go across to one of our guests, Mr. Shashikant, who's joining me on the newscast at this moment. All right, let me also introduce Mr. Shashikant. He's a former IPS officer and the ex-DGP of Punjab. Mr. Shashikant, if I could bring you in on this intel note that has been exclusively accessed by CNN News 18. This clearly goes on to establish the fact that Ripudaman Malik's murder that happened yesterday in Canada is a case of targeted killing. Do you not agree that the Khalistan threat is now growing in Canada?
Certainly, there can be no two doubts. The murder of Ripudaman Singh Malik, who had written a letter to the Prime Minister also praising his efforts for the Sikhs, for the community, for the nation. It is more than evident that the Khalistanis are certainly getting rattled. And where are these Khalistanis? Khalistanis, as on date, it's a dead movement in Punjab, but the person sitting abroad, particularly in Canada, US, Europe, all of them supported by the ISI, the notorious ISI, are trying their best to revive this particular menace, this particular thing again in Punjab. And what as a person wants, it's one of the nails, one of the final nails in the coffin of this militants, this Khalistanis. This letter and the murder of Ripudaman Singh Malik amplifies, shows that amply. Thank you.
Right. Also, Mr. Shashikant, the fact that this has happened on a day when the statue of Mahatma Gandhi was vandalized with Khalistan written in big bold letters right below the statue. What do you make of the timing of this targeted killing? This indeed is also happening at a time we are seeing a rise in hate crimes in Canada itself. And what does it speak of the government currently in Canada?
Yeah, this all shows that whatever is going on in Canada, particularly vandalizing the statue of Mahatma Gandhi and the murder of Ripudaman Malik, it all appears to be a very well orchestrated, very well planned attempt on part of the pro-Khalistani elements with the help of the notorious ISI. And it's really indeed sad that the Canadian government is just a mute spectator to all these things which are happening there. First, there were gangs, which were which are creating trouble in Punjab, like the recent murder of Musawala and all those things shows. They have apparently been giving them money, giving them weapons, giving them ideological support, giving them monetary support. Why I fail to understand why government of a sovereign country like Canada, which stands by and swears by the human rights, they have not been able to take any action, stop this vandalism and this kind of a planned tirade against our country.
Right, and since we are talking about the government in Canada, I'd like to refer to that letter that was written by Ripudaman Singh Malik on 17th of January this year itself, praising or rather lauding the efforts made by the Prime Minister's government in terms of, taking initiatives to protect the Sikhs. Having said that, that letter also mentions the fact that there have been anti-Modi steps being taken in Canada. I'm going to also speak to you about this bit because